We are live.
Okay, should I start?
Yes,
A very good evening, dear friends. So, friends, how is the Josh today? Well, keep your spirits super high because our guest today is loaded with positivity, enthusiasm, exuberance, zing, vibrancy. You know, friends, his mere presence lights up the room with light, cheer, and happiness. So, let's all remember to wear our smiles today. Dear friends, on behalf of Positive Thoughts, I, Dr. Preeti Shrimal, extend a very warm welcome to all the wonderful viewers, well-wishers from across the globe who have assembled here today to another incredible session of Thunderbolts. We thank all our valued audience for their gracious presence at Thunderbolts episode 4. I also deem it a privilege to welcome our illustrious guest of honor, a towering personality, Major Pradeep Khare, sir. We welcome you, sir, and we are honored by your magnetic presence as the mentor and speaker for the Thunderbolt episode today. These episodes are thundering training sessions designed to deliver electrifying talks on varied subjects and topics spanning all walks of life and professions. These Thunderbolt sessions are aimed at synergizing positive energies and meaningful global resources to create ripples of change. They are intended to create triggers to influence societal mindsets. These sessions are the innovative brainchild of positive thoughts. Well, friends, let me throw some light on positive thoughts. Positive Thoughts Family is a ProCert UK ISO certified GST registered firm, registered under Ministry of MSME, Government of India. It is a global community of super positive eminent speakers, trainers, coaches, educationists, consultants, social activists, and entrepreneurs from all over the country and also from 40 different nations across the globe. The mission being to learn, connect, share, and bridge the gap between brands, organizations, and to work on the mission of empowerment for a stress-free education and life. Wow, what a wonderful vision. This elite executive community is for all the like-minded positive people from across the globe who want to share, inspire, and help each other to grow their successes together by empowering one another. A platform like this will work as a one-stop solution full of hope of bringing major transformation in the society. Well, friends, the inspiration and the power behind this is our founder, Dr. Gaurav Sharma. Dr. Gaurav Sharma, a charismatic change maker, a live wire of boundless energy, unflagging enthusiasm, a forerunner in setting precedents and scripting new idioms. He is totally unstoppable, driven with a passion and a vision to reach for the stars and achieve his dream of global empowerment. Dr. Sharma is a well-known and respected multi-award winning motivational speaker, life coach, and a social activist, founder and CEO, Positive Thoughts Consulting and Training Solutions, co-founder, 28 Credentials of Entrepreneurs, Malaysia. He believes passion keeps a person motivated, and people who follow it will always find happiness and satisfaction in whatever they do. So true. He believes that each one of us can achieve our version of success by getting to know our inner selves and understanding what drives us. That success is finding our purpose and then designing a life that embraces it. He chose to take on great risks by leaving his career and becoming a motivational speaker because after years of searching and self-discovery, he had finally found his purpose. That success is finding our purpose and then designing a life that embraces it. Dr. Sharma came to realize that he wanted to lead a life fueled by the desire to serve, to uplift, and to empower people from all walks of life. A God-loving family person, Dr. Sharma is actively involved in various initiatives that support, contributing, and giving back to society, and finds the fulfilling feeling unparalleled. Wow, what a visionary. Under his stewardship, friends, Positive Thoughts has scaled newer heights, expanded over many horizons, spanning innumerable enterprises and encompassing manifold ventures. Let us welcome Dr. Gaurav Sharma, sir, a multifaceted personality endowed with a generous heart and a dynamic persona. Thank you, Sharma, sir, for giving us.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Now, friends, I feel so honored and fortunate to introduce our honorable guest for the day. He is a lighthouse of knowledge, a fountainhead of positivity, a spearhead of creativity, whose erudition, passion, and inspiring vision are astonishingly phenomenal. An exemplary role model of perseverance, dedication, and relentless commitment. He is someone who walks the untrodden path with his unique endeavors, setting precedents rather than following examples, an iconic path setter. Well, I can sum up personally with these words. There stands a man with a stature so tall that all of us will bow down and exclaim, wow, what a personality. He's the man with a smile who believes in living to the fullest every moment of life. Well, he is the one who dares to tread where others fear to go. He acts while others still think. He achieves while others still dream. Presenting to you our illustrious guest, a role model for all of us to emulate, a renowned celebrity, a legend, and an icon. Major Pradeep Sir, a veteran of the Indian Army who took voluntary retirement after 2 decades of service to the nation. Being from the Army Educational Corps, he was mainly responsible for officers' training. He was posted at premier training academies of the Army. He was a consultant with an open university where he was responsible for getting self-learning materials prepared for distance education courses. He is a TEDx speaker, columnist, and author, and an award-winning YouTuber. He has been a topper consistently in his academic career and holds a master's in mathematics and education. He writes a motivational blog, Fragrance of Success, which has a sizable following. He has published 8 books, some of them being Real Inspiring Stories, Unsung Heroes, Real Stories to Inspire You, 101 Ways of Becoming Better, Gateway to a Challenging Armed Forces Career, Feeling Great No Matter What. Sir is also running a motivational YouTube channel, Guldasta, which he started, mind you friends, at the age of 64, which was awarded Inspiring YouTuber of the Year Award 2019. He started his first blog at the age of 72. His motivational videos, Ek Anokhi Kahani, and interviews have been telecast on Tata Sky innumerable times. And in the program Zindagi Ek Safar, an epitome of youthfulness, hope, courage, reminding all of us that age is just a number. He has a website, Happiness Overloaded. Sir delivered his first TEDx talk on 8th May 2021. Sir, let me tell you, personally, I was simply mesmerized by the profound ideas expressed in your talk, your positivity, your zest for learning, and your so memorable quotes like, years may wrinkle the skin, but to give up enthusiasm wrinkles the soul. You are as old as you think. You are as young as you feel you are. Only when we get out of our comfort zone can we rise and shine. They were so inspirational and truly admirable, sir. Really, we were very, very inspired. Sir is on a mission to make this world a better place to live in. Towards this end, he conducts interactive sessions with students titled What They Don't Teach You in Schools and Colleges. Well, friends, this is the topic of our training today. What they don't teach you in schools and colleges. Oscar Wilde had said, education is an admirable thing, but it is well to remember from time to time that nothing that is worth learning can be taught. Unquote. So, what should schools teach and how? And how do we know if we are doing the right thing? These are astoundingly important questions, ones that need to be answered by all stakeholders. Friends, and my dear audience, the whole enterprise of education teaches us many basic and fundamental subjects and skills like math, English, science, discipline, socializing, just to name a few. But not everything that's worth knowing is chalked up on the blackboards. Well, at least not totally. Today, the society is grappling with the harsh reality that the students passing out of schools and colleges may be armed with meritorious degrees, superlative achievements, and impressive scores, but they somehow lack the skills that are absolutely necessary for any kind of real life success. Are we really creating holistic, future-ready citizens? Citizens who can withstand the storms of failure, citizens who can collaborate and confidently tackle the problems and challenges of the real world. We all know that degrees and academic competency is not the only yardstick to be happy and successful in life. There is a deeper dimension and a value set that needs to be inculcated so that we can nurture young minds who are well-balanced and can lead a rewarding life in their chosen careers and professions and evolve as empathetic, responsible citizens. We often hear students bemoaning the fact that it wasn't until they were out of school that their education really began. And this is something which we keep on hearing and resonating whenever students enter into workplace or whenever students even enter into colleges or internships. So, what are the top skills that should be taught to every man, woman, and child who enters our education system? These are the burning questions, sir, which we want to hear from you. Over to you, sir. Over to you, Carissa, for sharing your views and ideas on what is it that we need to teach our children when they are in schools and colleges.
Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good evening to everyone. And I'm thankful to Positive Thoughts, the family led by Dr. Gaurav Sharma, and all the divine souls that are present here. I am especially thankful to Preeti ma'am for giving such a generous introduction. I would like to start the session by saying that there was a time when I was in a shopping mall. I had gone to buy a shirt for myself. As I entered the mall into the section where the shirts were there, I saw a shirt and the price tag was 9,500 rupees. I was surprised. I looked at the neighboring section. There was a jeans. The price tag was 12,000 rupees. Nearby there were socks, which were priced at 8,000 rupees. I was perplexed. I walked into the neighboring section. There was a Rolex watch, which was priced at 225 rupees only. I was amazed. Next to that was the jewelry section. In that, I spotted a diamond ring priced only for 85 rupees. I was bewildered. Next to that, I found a section in which there was an Apple mobile. It was priced at 120 rupees. I was wondering what is happening here. I walked up to the manager of the store and asked him, what is happening? You're giving the prices in such a way that items which are very precious are being given at throwaway prices and normal items are being sold at exorbitant prices. He told me, sir, somebody came into our store yesterday at night and they mixed up all these price tags. We are trying to put them in order. Just then, my wife shook me. She was standing with a bed tea near me. My dream ended. But come to think of it, something similar is happening in our society these days. There's a low value on virtues like honesty, sincerity, integrity, truthfulness, compassion, kindness, sincerity, and so on. And high value has been placed on name, fame, property, gadgets, material possessions, and so on. And the result is in front of you. If you open any TV news channel or a newspaper, you find that more than 50% of the news is about scams, scandals, terrorist attacks, online frauds, corruption, and so on. I don't mean to paint a gloomy picture of the happenings all around. There are certainly many good things happening, and there are so many well-meaning people who are doing it. But the majority of these things which are happening are a matter of concern to all of us. Recently, during the second wave of this corona pandemic, we heard of ambulances which were charging 30 to 40,000 rupees from the corona patients for taking them to the hospital. The medicines which were essential for treating corona patients were being black marketed. These are some of the cases which draw our attention to the fact that why is our society tolerating all these things? In spite of so many schools, colleges, and universities which are churning out toppers every year, we are not happy. We are not peaceful as a society. There are so many subjects being taught in schools and colleges, starting from English, Hindi, commerce, science, mathematics, business management, biology, biotechnology, and whatnot. But there is one vital component which is missing. I was talking to a professor from IIT Kanpur last year. He said, we are producing engineers, technocrats, scientists, and bureaucrats, but we have failed to produce responsible citizens. A senior HR professional confided to me that people are being hired because of high IQ, but they're fired because of low EQ, emotional quotient. He narrated an incident in which he described that there was a project in which about 20 people were working and there was a project lead. Now it so happened that just a day before the submission of the project, something went wrong. There was an error. Now the project lead, he got disturbed. He was so frustrated. He got so annoyed. He started scolding all his team members. He started finding fault with them. What has gone wrong? Who's made the mistake? And the whole team was tense. Ultimately, the project failed. What was expected of the project lead was, had he remained calm, composed, had he been mature enough to maintain his cool without getting angry on any of his teammates, he would have asked them coolly to ponder over it, think what could have gone wrong. Then someone would have found out what is the mistake, where is something has gone wrong, it could have been corrected well in time. Ladies and gentlemen, we are lacking in human values. The National Crime Records Bureau reveals some startling statistics. Kerala, which has a population of 40 million and literacy rate of 94%, which is the highest in the country. But number of criminal cases by educated people are 70 lakhs, 7,870. Whereas Jharkhand, having a population of only 4 crore and a literacy rate of 67.6%, has criminal cases of 5 lakhs, 5,664. These are the crimes committed by educated people. Isn't it startling? Does it lead to the conclusion? Higher literacy rates, higher crime rates. We all heard of Ramalinga Raju of Satyam Computers, Subrata Roy of Sahara Group, Nirav Modi, Mehul Chokshi, who were business tycoons, Vijay Mallya of Kingfisher. These are all educated criminals. I don't mean to underestimate the value of education and teaching. Please don't get me wrong. Education gives you knowledge, it gives you wisdom, it gives you information. But it is like a knife. If a knife is given in the hands of a surgeon, he can save a life of a person. But if the same knife is given in the hands of a criminal, he will take life of people. That is the difference. So this brings us to the topic of today's session, what they don't teach you in schools and colleges. It was Albert Einstein who once said, education is what remains after one is forgotten what one learned at school. So it is the values which don't find a place in the curriculum. Although in some institutions, we have a subject of moral science, which tries to inculcate values in the children. But overall, that is not given so much of an importance. Even in the Indian Administrative Services examination, they have a paper on ethics. This is just to bring about the point that the civil servants also need to be ethical in their functioning. To bring home these points, I'll be sharing with you some stories. How many of you are fond of stories? Well, quite a few of you. Everyone loves stories. So there was a king who was very pious, ritual, and he was very caring for his people. Now he had a son. Now this son, when he grew up, he became the prince, the heir apparent to the throne. But before he could be crowned as a prince, there was a condition that this person should be married. So the king made an announcement in his kingdom that we are looking for a bride for his son. And all those girls who feel themselves suitable should come forward. He gave them a date and time to come in the darbar. There was a maid who was working in the palace of the king. She had a daughter named Radha. Radha told her mother when she came to know about this announcement, should I also go in the darbar and present myself as a possible candidate for the marriage of the prince? Radha's mother said, neither you are good looking, nor we have that stature in society. But Radha said, no, I have big dreams and I want to go. So the mother said, okay. So Radha went there on that specified day. There were a lot of beautiful girls who had come well dressed presenting themselves as prospective brides for the prince. The king told them one thing, that we are looking for a suitable bride for my son. And I am going to select a bride from one of you. He said, I am going to give each one of you a flower pot, which will contain a seed. You take home this flower pot, look after this plant, nurture it, expose it to sun, put some water, put some manure in this, and after 2 months, all of you will bring this flower pot to me, and then we'll decide what is to be done. After this, all the girls took the flower pot which was given to them. Radha also brought it with her. She used to water it every day, put some manure, show the sunlight. But after a week, she found nothing is coming. There's no seed which is cropping up in that. Nothing was erupting from that. 15 days passed, 1 month passed. And there was not a single sprout coming out of the flower pot. Radha was worried. She was telling her mother, what should I do? I'm looking after it every day, the way I've been told to do. Her mother said, don't worry. Do as you've been told. And finally the day came. After 2 months, all the girls went to the king's darbar with the flower pot. Radha was astonished to see that all the girls were having beautiful flowers blooming in their flower pots. Flowers of different colors and sizes. But Radha, she was only having a barren flower pot. Nothing was there in that. She was feeling ashamed. Even some of the girls were ridiculing her. They were making fun of her. Finally, the king went around and had a look at the flower pot of all the girls. When he came in front of Radha, he paused and he asked her, did you not take care of this plant? Did you not put manure or water in this? She said, yes, in a very low tone. Well, after seeing all the pots, the king went back on the stage and he announced that Radha should be brought up on the stage. She was so scared. She was feeling that now the king is going to humiliate me in front of everyone. However, she went up to the stage and the king announced that here is the girl who's going to become the bride of my son, who's going to get married to my son. Everybody was astonished. Neither she was beautiful, nor she had a flowering plant with her. The king said that all the plants which I had given, they contained a seed which was boiled, and there was no plant, no flower which was supposed to come from that seed. So all of you have replaced that seed with some other seed, and you have brought these flowering plants in front of me. But here is a girl, Radha, who was honest, who was truthful. She did not do anything like that. And that is the kind of girl I want who should marry my son, because she is going to be the future queen of this kingdom. And a lot depends on the values which she follows. Ladies and gentlemen, in the present day times, as we find the meaning of success and the meaning of failure, they are not understood properly. That is why so many wrong things are happening in society as we see. In fact, success means different things to different people. For a student, it means passing in the examination with flying colors. For a patient, success means regaining normal health. For an alcoholic, success means giving up drinking. But let us see what success does not mean. Success does not mean winning a legal battle by false evidences. Success does not mean misusing one's position for personal benefit. Let's also understand what is failure. Failure is not doing something for fear of imperfection. People say, I'll do this only if it is perfect. Otherwise, I'll not do it. Failure is quitting when the going gets tough. Failure is not having the courage to admit one's fault. Failure is also occupying a position which you don't deserve. And failure is also doing something wrong when nobody is watching. These are the values, if we understand in the correct perspective, then there'll be no mad rush for success as it is commonly happening these days. Let me ask you one thing. Is there anyone who has not faced criticism throughout in his or her life? Well, I don't think there'll be hardly any person. We all have faced criticism at one point of time or the other. But we should know how to handle criticism. That is not taught in schools and colleges. Well, first we should understand that the criticism, is it destructive or is it constructive? Let me make it in simple terms. If your parents, your mentors, your teachers are telling you something to improve, they're finding some fault with what you're doing, they're advising you to do something else. It may be a form of criticism, but this is constructive criticism. So this is the one which you should take in the right perspective, understand the motive behind it, and try to change your way of working, adapt whatever is being told to you. The next one is destructive criticism. Well, destructive criticism generally comes from your rivals, from your opponents, from people who are jealous of you. You know them. They're just trying to pull you down. They may be trying to make fun of you. The best thing to do in such cases is to ignore them. Don't pay attention to them. Don't get disturbed by destructive criticism. One thing which you find that is lacking in society to a large extent is civic sense. You know what I mean. If you go to any market, you will find vehicles are parked haphazardly on the roadside. Sometimes you go for a function, you park your vehicle, and when you come back, you find 3-4 other cars have blocked your car in such a way that you can't take it out. And you have to wait for a very long time. People are throwing junk on the roadside. At times, they are throwing junk from the balcony. There are people who are playing loud music in their flats. They're not concerned whether the person in the neighborhood, somebody is not well, somebody is preparing for his exams. It has disturbed them. There are people who are scribbling on the walls of monuments, smoking in public places. This is also lack of civic sense. If we only think that whatever action we are doing, whatever thing we are doing, whatever action we are taking, is it disturbing somebody else in the neighborhood, then we should not do it. If we think on these lines, then the world will become a better place. Let me share with you another story. There happened to be a rich man who had a boat. He was fond of going for fishing. After a long time, that boat had become worn out. It needed some painting to be done. So he called a painter and he said that you should paint this boat nicely. The painting was done. He made the payment to the painter and he had to go on a business trip. After he came back, after a few days, he again called the painter and gave him a fat check. The painter was surprised. He said, "Sir, you already made the payment for the work which I have done." But he said, "No. What happened is, after you have done the painting on the boat, I had to go out on a business trip. When I came back after 3 days, my wife said that my children had gone for fishing in the boat in the nearby river. He was disturbed. He immediately went to the riverside to see what has happened because he knew there was a hole in the boat and he was afraid that the boat might have sunk. But he breathed a sigh of relief when he found that the children were coming toward the shore. And he checked the boat. There was no hole. It had been covered. And it was this painter who, when he was doing the painting of the boat, he covered that hole also. So the businessman told the painter, "You have saved the life of my children, and this is what I am paying you for. This extra amount is a reward for doing your duty and a little more." Well, ladies and gentlemen, if this is what we adopt in our life, do your duty and little more, there will be no competition. You will be getting promotions, you will be getting appreciation, and everything that you can ask for. These are the days of smartphones. Even students, they're all having smartphones with them. In every family, there are 4 to 5 smartphones. But have we taught the people mobile etiquettes, how to use the mobile? What are the do's and don'ts for using the mobile? Hardly anyone teaches these things. Now, there are certain things which are mobile etiquettes, which I would like to share with all of you. They will be known to quite a few of you, but just to highlight these points, it is generally seen that when people are talking, either at home or outside, there are some people who are texting messages or who are seeing some WhatsApp messages or videos, not paying attention to the person who's talking with them face to face. So that is what is required. If somebody is talking to us, if we are talking to some group of people or one-to-one, one should not see the mobile or text message on that. Of course, during the meeting, if there's an urgent call, then one can take permission and then attend to that call if it is very urgent. Secondly, in the workplace, the mobile should be kept on silent or vibratory mode because there are so many funny ringtones which disturb the peace of the workplace. Another thing is when we are talking on the mobile, there are some people who are chewing pan masala, gutka, and because of that, what they're speaking is not clear. So one should have a clear mouth when they're speaking. Sometimes it happens, people are standing in a queue at the railway station or airport or somewhere else, and they're involved in long conversations on mobile. They keep others waiting and also disturb the other people. Well, the same rule applies. If the call is urgent, step out of the queue, attend to the call. Otherwise, do it later. And another thing, which is very dangerous, don't attend to the phone when you're driving. Because I've seen people who are driving even two-wheelers or four-wheelers. Generally, they are, whenever a phone call comes, they immediately attend the phone call. I've seen people going on bikes and they are putting the mobile like this and turning their head like this, which causes problems. And more than anything else, once your attention is diverted when you're in a traffic, it can cause serious accidents. You're not only putting your life at risk, but you're putting the life of other people at risk as well. Another thing is WhatsApp has become very common. There are so many WhatsApp groups which each of us are associated with. Now, generally you'll find that more than 80% of the messages coming in these WhatsApp groups or individually, they're either funny videos, most of them are meaningless, sometimes they're jokes, and most of them are forwarded messages. In each group, you'll find that the same message is forwarded 4 to 5 times in a day because people don't read them, they don't see anything. They simply keep on forwarding. It is like throwing your waste in the neighbor's balcony. Now, there are two things. Once you get a message which may be disturbing, but once you have read the message or seen the video, then even if you don't like it, you can delete it from your phone. But it has already gone in some corner of your mind and it is going to affect you there. So, a word of advice, if you know that there are certain people or certain WhatsApp groups which are forwarding this kind of frivolous messages or some kind of messages to create misinformation, then please delete these messages without reading them. Because you can delete them from the mobile, but it's not easy to delete them from your mind. Another thing is, people keep on glued to the mobile phone. They keep on responding to each and every message which is coming. This is wasting your time and it gives the impression to people that you have nothing else to do. So we should remember, use discretion while seeing the messages and you'll save your time and you'll save your mind also from being polluted. Another thing which is very common in the social media is Facebook. Now on the Facebook or on the WhatsApp, whatever you're posting, it defines your personality in a way. If you're always posting funny videos, you're posting photographs time and again, or forwarding certain things, sharing certain posts, but there's some people who are posting some original thoughts, original views, original ideas, or some constructive comments, suggestions. These are the people who stand out from the crowd. They have an identity of their own. Some of the people are composing poems and posting the poems. Some people are making videos and posting them. So what you post defines your identity. And people recognize you for what kind of post you are putting there. So one should be very careful of what you are posting on Facebook. There was a senior HR professional who confided in me that people can fake in the resumes, they can fake in the interview, but if you want to know the real personality of an individual, we see his Facebook page, and there we get to know the real person. Another thing that we see in everyday life is procrastination. Generally, we plan to do something, but when the day comes, we feel all right, we'll do it tomorrow. बाद में कर लेंगे, अभी मूड नहीं, कल करते, वो कल कभी नहीं आता. And that is how our success is affected. Achievement of our goal is affected because we keep on procrastinating. In spite of having good intentions, we cannot move forward. Now there are certain ways in which we can overcome this procrastination. First of all, we should see what is the purpose of this particular action that we are going to take. Is it going to affect my career? Is it going to affect my goals? Is it going to affect my life? Once you give the importance to it, you will have a less tendency of procrastination. Secondly, whatever the task is, you should break it up into smaller tasks, maybe 3 or 4 tasks. After that, once you've divided them, try to finish the most difficult one first. Because once you finish the difficult part of the task, you will feel the rest of it is easy. And you will keep on doing it day after day. Sometimes you find there are distractions. There is some music being played or TV being played, or your friends are there, they're gossiping. So in that case, you better shift to some other place and do that work. Don't let these distractions be an excuse for postponing. Another thing is, sometimes we wait for the perfect time. That no, now I'll not do it. Let this thing be perfect. Let this thing be perfect. You know, as they say, we can't wait for all the traffic lights to be green before we start. We have to make a start. Another method of avoiding procrastination is you share with your friends and family members that this is what I'm going to do. Tell them about your plan so that when you talk to you, they'll be asking you about the progress of what you have done. And you'll be happy to tell them how much you have done. As we are talking of values in society, let me share with you another real story of our Prime Minister Lal Bahadur Shastri. He was an epitome of honesty, integrity, sincerity, nationalism, and whatnot. Some of you might be knowing that Lal Bahadur Shastri, as the Prime Minister, he never allowed his family members to use the official vehicles for personal use. It so happened that once his son, he had to go and attend a party with some of his friends at night, late in the evening. So, knowing his father's temperament, the son told the driver to take him to the friend's party late in the evening, quietly without telling Shastriji about it. So the driver obliged him, and when they came back late at night, the driver parked the vehicle in another corner because he was feeling that Shastriji should not come to know about this by hearing the noise. In the morning, when Shastriji came out for a walk, he found the car was parked in a different place. He called the driver and asked him. And when the driver told him the truth, he told his secretary that whatever expenditure has been incurred in the car going for taking his son for the party last night, it should be billed to him. He'll pay that separately. See the honesty of the man. These days, you find so many people who are having official vehicles. They have number of vehicles and they're being misused like anything. After some time, when the family members of Shastriji were insisting on having a car, he said, okay, we'll buy a car. And he inquired that a Fiat car in those days were costing 12,000 rupees. And Shastriji only had 7,000 rupees in his bank account that time. He was falling short of 5,000 rupees. Do you know? Shastriji applied for a loan of 5,000 rupees in those days from the Punjab National Bank. And that loan was sanctioned in just 2 hours. He called up the bank manager and asked him, do you sanction loans so promptly for the common man also? If not, please do that. Now it so happened that the Fiat car which he purchased, before he could pay off the loan, he expired. And after his death, the bank sent the letter of loan repayment to his wife, Mrs. Lalita Shastri. And she kept on paying the installments of the loan from the pension which she was getting. When Prime Minister Indira Gandhi came to know about this, she told Mrs. Lalita Shastri that this was the car purchased by him as a Prime Minister. We can waive off the loan. But Mrs. Lalita Shastri said, no, I'll pay the loan completely. I think, do we have some time for more, or should we have the question answer session now? Yes, ma'am. Preeti, ma'am.
Sir, I think if you could just sum up in your entire fantastic enriching
All right.
session
All
in
right.
some key takeaways, and then I'll open the floor to the audience. I'm sure they're all waiting to ask you a lot of questions.
I love that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there are a lot of things which I have to say in this series, and these are the things which are contained in my book, 101 Ways of Becoming Better. Some of the things which I have shared with you, there are a lot more things which are there, and even beyond that book, there are so many things. All I want to say in short is that we need to have values of honesty, sincerity, compassion, integrity. If these values are there in us, then life will be better and the society will become better. So many evils of society, so many crimes which are happening, so many people who are in trouble because of this, they will have a peaceful life and we all will be happy as a society. So these things, although they're not taught in any curriculum, in the syllabus of schools and colleges, but it is for us to acquire these values either through our family, from our parents, or from a lot of books. There are so many self-help books are there, so many videos are there on the YouTube, and so many good people are there, like we have here in this positive thoughts group. We can all learn from each other and become better citizens. Yes, ma'am.
Gaurav sir, do we have time for the audience questions?
Yes, ma'am, we can definitely take a few questions.
After this absolutely super inspirational talk with such fantastic stories narrated by you, I now open the floor for the audience. Is there anybody who wishes to ask something?
Good evening, sir, and good evening, participants. Hi, I am Supriya, and I want to ask one question. Our present generation, that is our kids, so don't you think they need to inculcate some manners, ethics, moral values in school first rather than education?
Yes, very good question, ma'am. In fact, these manners, etiquettes, values, these are required in school. In fact, teachers have also a role to play. Besides the laid down curriculum which is being taught to the children, in between that, they can give small stories. They can share with them some small tips. And more than anything else, they can be examples themselves. If the teacher is a role model for the students to follow, if the teacher behaves like this and in between, if he shares something which is about good manners, about etiquettes, good values, then children can certainly follow. And I believe stories are a very powerful medium of communicating to the children. They may forget if it is given in the form of a lecture or a sermon, but if it is told in the form of a story, they'll probably remember it longer.
Thank you so much, sir. I got my answer. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your fantastic words of wisdom. I'm sure everyone will take a leaf out of all your suggestions, especially your definition of failure, that doing something when no one is watching us. I think that is so very true. The way we need to imbibe civic sense in our students, in our young generation, mobile etiquettes, which are the need of the hour. So every tip given by you, also how we need to overcome our habit of procrastination. I think all of us at times become victims of that. So these were super fantastic tips given by you, suggestions given by you. And all of us will now go back to the drawing board and we'll try to figure out ways how we can bridge the gap between making our students to be more productive, to make them into more responsible citizens, so that when they move into the workforce, they are fully armed and prepared. So thank you so much, sir. And we definitely will cherish whatever you've spoken to us for a very, very long time. And I'm sure the audience will agree with me that it was an absolutely such an inspirational session with so many nuggets of wisdom to be taken by us. So, Gaurav sir, over to you for felicitation of our guest of honor.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And आप सभी को मेरा हाथ जोड़ के नमस्कार and a very beautiful evening to all. What to say about this session? Major Saab, Pradeep sir, you are you are amazing. Right. This session is truly amazing, motivational, inspirational. ये सारी चीजें हम लोगों को डेली बेसिस में सुनने को नहीं मिलती, because we are used to of this device. This is our life. This is our life. And आप 8 साल के बच्चे को भी बोलोगे ना कि मोबाइल पे काम नहीं करना, तो वो भी बोलेगा नहीं, हमें करना है. एक टाइम था सर, लगभग 1.5 साल पहले, जब पैंडेमिक नहीं आया था, 22 मार्च 2020 को जनता कर्फ्यू लगा. उससे पहले हम लोग ये सोचते थे स्कूल 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 स्कूल. कभी किसी ने नहीं सोचा था कि मोबाइल के अंदर स्कूल आ जाएगा. मोबाइल के अंदर स्कूल आया, बट मोबाइल के अंदर इंटरनेट बहुत सारे फ्लॉज भी लेके आया, ड्रॉबैक्स भी लेके आया उन बच्चों के लिए जो अपनी टीन एज से गुजर रहे हैं. वी ऑल आर मैच्योर इनफ, बट जो बच्चे टीन एज से गुजर रहे हैं, जिनके हार्मोनल चेंजेस भी होते हैं बायोलॉजिकल इफेक्ट के, दे आर मोर फोकस्ड टुवर्ड्स नेगेटिविटी और आकर्षण की तरफ ज्यादा फोकस्ड है. नॉलेज कम चाहिए, बट नॉलेज से पार कुछ और चाहिए. तो ये सेशन बहुत ज्यादा काम आएगा. जितने भी लोग फेसबुक पे हमें देख रहे हैं, वी ऑल आर मैच्योर, क्योंकि हम लोग एक फैमिली के मेंबर हैं. बट सबसे ज्यादा मेजर बेनिफिट उनको होने वाला है जो आज हमें फेसबुक पे देख रहे हैं लाइव, और जो ये रिकॉर्डेड वीडियो बार बार देखेंगे. आई एम ट्रूली हम्बल्ड, gratified, honored. Why? Because you have accepted our invitation for giving us your precious time. This is truly one of the inspirational, insightful session of positive thought till now. Although it's just our 4th episode, but we are creating history in every single episode of positive thought, be it be Arabica, be it be Thunderbolt. And I'm looking forward for such episodes every Wednesday, Saturday and Sunday, so that we can bring some positive impact and change towards the society. And I am no one. I am zero. Zero भी इंडिया में ही इन्वेंट हुआ था. I am zero without you all. You are my family and I love you all. Sir, thank you so much once again for giving such an insightful session. What to say about Dr. Preeti Shrimal ma'am? हाथ जोड़ के नमस्कार.
Thank you, sir.
And you did a fab job. And मजा आता है मैम, बहुत अच्छा लगता है जब पूरी फैमिली एक साथ मिलके काम करती है कुछ ग्लोबल एम्पावरमेंट के लिए. मजा आता है जब पूरी फैमिली, देखो मैम, हम लोग ऑन अ डेली बेसिस बहुत कुछ करते हैं अपनी पर्सनल लाइफ के लिए भी, प्रोफेशनल लाइफ के लिए भी. हम सेशंस भी अटेंड करते हैं, बट what I am observing, what I am feeling, what I am believing from last couple of days and couple of weeks, कि जब पॉजिटिव थॉट का सेशन आ रहा है, हम सब लोग बहुत पॉजिटिवली उसको अटेंड कर रहे हैं और बहुत एक वाइब्रेशंस आ रही हैं, which I am feeling, and I am sure आप सबको भी वो वाइब्रेशन आती होंगी जब 6 to 7 पॉजिटिव थॉट आता है वेडनेसडे, सैटरडे एंड संडे, कि इस बार कुछ और नया होगा, इस बार कुछ और नया होगा. और वही मैं कोशिश कर रहा हूँ टू ब्रिंग समथिंग यूनिक, टू क्रिएट अ यूनिक प्लेटफॉर्म. एंड हाथ जोड़ के बोल रहा हूँ, प्लीज सपोर्ट अस. This is a very clear vision and mission, and I'm grateful, gratified, honored, and pleased, thankful to all of you. What to say about my participant? ये मेरे participant थोड़ी मेरी फैमिली है. आज फैमिली के एक हमारे सीनियर सर आए हैं अपने बच्चों को शिक्षा देने के लिए, भिक्षा देने के लिए. हम हाथ जोड़ के ले रहे हैं. अगली बार अगले एपिसोड में फिर आएंगे कोई ना कोई, क्योंकि वी आर फैमिली. हम फैमिली है तो हमें लगता नहीं है कि कोई बाहर का आया है, हमें लगता है अपना ही तो है, अपना ही तो है, और अपने के साथ सीखना है और खुले दिल से सीखना है. एंड मजा आता है. थैंक यू सो मच टू ईच एंड एवरी वन ऑफ यू जिन्होंने अपना प्रीशियस टाइम निकाला. 1 घंटा 60 मिनट देना बहुत बड़ी बात होती है. बट मजा आता है, कुछ ना कुछ लेके जाओगे. थैंक यू सो मच टू ऑल ऑफ माय फेसबुक लाइव व्यूअर्स जो अपना टाइम दे रहे हैं. बहुत अच्छा लगता है. बहुत सारे कमेंट्स आ रहे हैं. इस लाइव वीडियो को लगभग 100 शेयर मिल चुके हैं पिछले 1 घंटे में. 100 के करीब शेयर्स मिल चुके हैं पिछले 1 घंटे में. एंड अप्रोक्सीमेटली 100 कमेंट्स आ चुके हैं पिछले 1 घंटे में. एंड पीपल आर लविंग इट मेजर साहब, पीपल आर लविंग इट. वी आर वेरी वेरी पॉजिटिव. इस पैंडेमिक के टाइम पे जहाँ कोरोना है, हम कोरोना करेंगे ही नहीं. सबको पता है कोरोना है, कोविड है, बट ये पॉजिटिव थॉट है. कोरोना की बात नहीं करनी, हमें पॉजिटिविटी की बात करनी है. बी प्रैक्टिकल. प्रैक्टिकल होने के साथ साथ पॉजिटिव होना बहुत जरूरी है. दैट द रीजन आई एम हियर. आई एम हियर 24/7 आप लोगों की सेवा में, आप लोगों के चरणों में. आई लव यू ऑल. Thank you so much, Preeti ma'am.
Thank you so much, Gaurav sir. Thank you so much, Pradeep sir. And thank you to all the members of this beautiful family.
And
This
Preeti ma'am,
dedication, sir. Yes,
I'm-
commendable
I'm-
teamwork.
I'm so sorry to interrupt. Before winding this session, I would really like to felicitate Major Pradeep Khare sir. मैं कुछ ज्यादा नहीं दे सकता. हाथ जोड़ के आपको एक सर्टिफिकेट देना चाहता हूँ और आपका आशीर्वाद लेना चाहता हूँ सर. Thank you so much, sir. Hina ma'am, please do the needful, ma'am. प्रदीप खरे सर का सर्टिफिकेट मैम.
First one, please.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you to all the esteemed guests also.
प्रदीप सर, please accept our
Time.
token of
Yes.
appreciation. हाथ जोड़ के नमस्कार और आपसे प्यार. And
Thank
Preeti ma'am, please,
Thank you
please
very
accept our appreciation.
It's a privilege and honor to be amongst all of you, and I really enjoyed every bit of it.
We are honored, sir. We are blessed to have you in the family, sir. We are blessed.
And I really
was
like your
one
expression that we are a
fantastic
family.
session.
Yes, we are a
Fantastic.
family. That's a big feeling.
मजा आता है सर फैमिली में काम करके.
Gaurav sir, people loves to you because you loves to all. And you are giving us a truthful and valuable things to each and everyone.
Yes.
Yes, that's why you are so lovable.
Thank you so much. Means a lot, sir. Means a lot.
And the very fact that you brought such personalities, on this platform to share their ideas, wherein we can learn so much, is really, really commendable. So Gaurav sir, yes, you really deserve a big round of applause. And thank you so much.
I want to say a big thank you to Preeti ma'am for conducting this session so nicely. You've been a wonderful
sir.
anchor. And
Thank you so
I am
much.
so impressed by your personality, by the work which you're doing in school, in the field of education. I
Thank
saw your profile and I'm really impressed.
I'm
All
truly
the best, ma'am.
sir. Truly humbled, sir.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much. See you on coming Sunday, that is tomorrow. We will be having Pooja Saran ma'am and Famida Mohammed from Sri Lanka. Our Thunderbolt episode number 5, The Science Behind Happiness. This is a very unique topic, the science behind happiness. And see you all tomorrow, Sunday, 6 p.m. Indian Standard Time. आप सभी को मेरा दोबारा हाथ जोड़ के नमस्कार.
Thank you, sir.
Good night, good evening, and bye.
Thank you.